Two Russian drone operators were traveling in an unarmored truck. Ukrainian forces attacked them with HIMARS and drones. The Main Intelligence Directorate considered it necessary to use valuable resources, a reconnaissance drone, a missile system, and attack drones to eliminate this group of aerial reconnaissance agents, writes Forbes. As Russia's war against Ukraine enters its fourth year and US support faces political challenges, the Ukrainians are working to maintain their key battlefield advantage, control over the skies via drones. The operation took place in the Zaporizhia region. A Ukrainian Shark reconnaissance drone spotted a suspicious civilian truck on the Russian side of the front line and began surveillance. Having lost a significant amount of military equipment, the Russians are increasingly using civilian vehicles for transportation and combat operations. Ukrainian forces discovered that the truck was carrying a Russian Orlan drone. Determined to prevent its launch, Ukrainian intelligence called in the military for fire support. The HIMARS soon fired a cluster munition that detonated over the Russian operator's position, causing fatal casualties. The Russian operators were likely killed or escaped as subsequent Ukrainian drones attacked the truck and the Orlan unopposed, destroying them. The GUR reported on the operation, emphasizing the importance of the fight for freedom. But Ukrainians are facing new challenges. Russian forces have begun to actively use fiber optic drones, which are resistant to electronic jamming. The Ukrainian military is responding with a strategy of preemptive strikes, trying to destroy drone operators before they can be launched. Along with the military challenges, political threats are growing. Donald Trump is pressing Ukraine to give the United States half of Ukraine's rare earth minerals, valued at hundreds of billions of dollars, as payment for past US aid to Ukraine, which has included dozens of HIMARS launchers and thousands of rockets for them. Worse, Trump has hinted that he may withhold future aid unless Ukraine agrees to the mineral extortion. "We have to get something," Trump said, ignoring the obvious benefits of US support for a democracy battling an authoritarian aggressor. "We can't continue to pay this money." It is likely that the newest Russian Valdai radar systems near Moscow were destroyed by a Ukrainian agent who snuck up on the systems and planted explosives under them. This assumption was made in Forbes magazine, which pointed to the existence of a video of the corresponding explosion. If so, it would have been a risky operation in a densely populated region nearly 500 kilometers from the front lines in Ukraine, but it would not have been unprecedented. Ukrainian agents have repeatedly infiltrated Russian territory to hit military aircraft, warships, and other high-value targets. The article notes, it is emphasized that the Valdai complexes were clearly worth the risk. The brand new system, apparently quite rare in Russian service, combined passive radio detectors, infrared sensors, radars, and means to detect and jam hard-to-detect small drones. The magazine recalled that the Lianosovsky electromechanical plant in Moscow began developing the Valdai in 2016. The first example entered service just 4 years ago. Why the Ukrainians chose Valdai in Dolgoprudny is obvious. Ukrainian forces are expanding their campaign of deep strikes against Russian air bases, factories and oil facilities. Raids on the Russian oil industry last month may have disrupted up to 10% of the country's oil production. Ukraine is launching cruise missiles at some of the toughest targets, but most of the deep strikes are being carried out by Ukraine's ever-expanding portfolio of long-range drones, the heaviest of which can fly more than 1,500 kilometers with precision guidance and explosives, Forbes added. Let us recall that the Main Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine reported that on the night of February the 7th, a powerful explosion occurred on the territory of Military Unit 52116 in the city of Dolgoprudny near Moscow. Explosives destroyed 2 Russian Valdai radar systems designed for round-the-clock automatic detection and counteraction of unmanned aerial vehicles. The military unit where the Valdai missiles exploded is responsible for the safety of the airspace over Moscow, the Main Intelligence Directorate emphasized. Ukrainian forces are widening their campaign of deep strikes against Russian air bases, factories and oil facilities. Raids on the Russian oil industry last month may have suppressed as much as 10% of the country's petroleum product production. Ukraine fires cruise missiles at some of the tougher targets, but most of the deep strikes are carried out by the Ukrainians' ever-expanding portfolio of long-range drones, the heaviest of which can travel more than 1,000 miles with precision guidance, GPS or terrain matching and an explosive payload. The newest drones even have the ability to drop a bomb and return to base, allowing them to be deployed for multiple raids before they crash or get shot down. Defeating these drones is an urgent priority for the Russians as their wider war on Ukraine grinds into its fourth year and costs both militarily and industrial mount. Defeating the means by which Russia defeats the drones is an urgent priority for Ukraine.
Drone footage showed the extent of the destruction in Jabalia city, in northern Gaza, after 16 months of Israeli bombardment and ground offensives against Hamas fighters. According to Associated Press, the Israeli army launched several operations in Jabalia during the war that started on October 2023 following the Hamas attack in southern Israel. On Sunday, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as he kicked off a Mideast tour in Israel. It comes as Arab leaders reel from President Donald Trump's proposal to transfer the Palestinian population of the Gaza Strip to other countries and redevelop it under U.S. ownership. On Rubio's first visit to the region as America's top diplomat, he got a warm welcome from the Israeli premier, who has praised the plan. The fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, meanwhile, remains intact after a major dispute threatened to unravel it last week. On Saturday, Israel and Hamas completed the sixth exchange of hostages and Palestinian prisoners with just over 2 weeks remaining in their fragile Gaza ceasefire's initial phase. The sides face a fast-approaching deadline in early March to negotiate the next phase, and the war may resume if they don't reach an agreement.